It's Saturday evening. It's time to talk about the very best comic books in the world. After we had technical difficulties on the Comic Aficionados and couldn't do it, but we do have Drew here to talk about the best books. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing well, Wes. I just got back from Dallas Fan Expo. I'm still in recovery mode, so no camera today. But let's talk about the best comics of the week.
Well, let's talk about the reaction to Unholy Nightmare. You've had your first teaser book out there. Were people interested?
The books were supposed to have arrived Friday. They didn't. So we lost a day of sales, but they arrived Saturday morning. And as soon as we got them there, the people were already buying them. We sold through half the print run over the weekend. So we have less than half of the trade, less than half of the Virgin left. So that is fantastic.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Before we get into the best books, there's something that we do need to talk about. They announced Peach Momoko on an Ultimate X-Men book. I like Peach Momoko. I like her art. I like her storytelling. Didn't know that she was the right fit for this. And I do think after 4 issues, which is basically the time when someone told me this is when it will feel like an X-Men book, it still does not feel like an X-Men book.
No, it doesn't. I was flipping through it this week, and I like you, I had heard that, and I'm reading this. I'm like, there is nothing X-Men, there's nothing Ultimate related in any way, shape, or form with this book. I will say, if you're excited about teenage girls, you know, getting food and eating and chatting, here you go. This is your excitement right here. You guys have fun with this.
Yeah, it's strange. You would expect it to be about mutants, but it's really about two teenage girls in Japan and what they're going through in their personal life. And certainly there are a lot of things going on. We've had a slew of young men apparently at the school have killed themselves. It does appear that we have the shadows behind all this kind of stuff. So there's probably a story to tell that people would like to be reading. I think if it wasn't called Ultimate X-Men, I probably wouldn't hold it against it.
This book, honestly, it's not interesting to me. I would say probably if you're a young kid to maybe a young teenager, here you go. You guys have fun with it. This is in your wheelhouse. But if you're someone like us, Wes, you know, you love X-Men, you're expecting those big dynamic action scenes, you want to see some great fights between mutants or some Brood or whatever, that's not here. This is not X-Men. If you come here expecting the X-Men, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, it's been a weird Ultimate line. You know, I do like Ultimate Spider-Man, although the last 2 issues have been a bit of a letdown. Ultimate Black Panther doesn't feel any different really than just regular Black Panther. Nothing special about that. The Ultimates might be the next best book, I guess, but it sounds like sales weren't very good on that one because it didn't have really any creators of note on it.
The other night, I was driving home, and I was reminiscing in my head, like going through all the Ultimate titles, and I was like, why am I forgetting one? Oh yeah, Ultimate Black Panther, because I think people have honestly forgotten about that. I think people just don't care about it. And like you said, there's really nothing different about it between that and the mainline universe. And you're giving us a Moon Knight that really isn't that cool at all. And the Black Panther, okay, he's got an open mouth now. You can see his mouth. Cool, I guess. I mean, there's nothing special about it. There's nothing. We can remember, Wes, when the Ultimate line came out over 20, almost 25 years ago at this point. It was special. You had big creative names involved in this. They're big, explosive, cinematic comic books. None of that is associated with this. There's nothing Ultimate about this line. And honestly, I'm going to say right here and now, this is a disappointment. This whole Ultimate line is a disappointment.
Me personally, I guess it's time to give up on Ultimate X-Men. I don't have much more time to waste waiting for Ultimate X-Men to actually turn into an X-Men comic book.
Yeah, same here. And like you said, 4 issues. 4 issues are more than enough. I always have like the rule of 3 before I give up. But 4 issues in, and we're just having more girls laughing, having fun in school, and eating, and more eating and laughing. This is not for me. If you enjoy that, hey, you guys have fun with that. I want to go somewhere else where I can get some X-Men.
Unfortunately, Marvel just don't have a lot of X-Men comic books out there, so this one being good might have been something that really would have filled a void out there, but it just hasn't done it. Now let's get into the really good stuff, starting out with indie comic books. Nothing better than Transformers #9. Daniel Warren Johnson writing, Jorge Corona on art. I was a little bit worried about Jorge Corona taking over as the artist. Has not skipped a beat. Looks almost as good as the Daniel Warren Johnson stuff. And we've got some big things popping in this particular comic book. We do have Shockwave arriving on the Earth from Cybertron, and we end up having an enormous battle. And perhaps a couple of Autobots will be left behind because, unfortunately, Optimus Prime has to retreat at one point. And we even saw Optimus Prime take a fucking Tombstone pile driver.
I was getting ready to say that. I loved it. Oh, my God. One thing I was worried about with Jorge Corona was that I didn't think he would be able to do the action sequences that Daniel Warren Johnson was able to do. And no, he nails it. Like you said, a Tombstone pile driver given to Optimus. Like, holy crap, that was amazing. And all the fights in this are terrific. And like you said, there are some sacrifices made in this, which is unfortunate. Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 Autobots made in this, one of which I was like, no, not him. He's great. I'm not going to say who it is. You got to read it to find out. But yeah, this is a terrific read, fantastic read. And Transformers, it continues to be one of the best books on the market right now. If you're not reading Transformers, fix yourself. Dude, check this out.
This far into 2024, Transformers is the book of the year. It's the book to beat if you want to have the best comic book out in the entire year. I think it's pretty cut and dry at this point. We've also got TMNT Usagi Yojimbo Saturday Morning Adventures #1. Eric Burnham writing, Jack Lawrence on art. This is actually a one-shot, so it's a little bit longer than the other Saturday Morning Adventures that we've gotten. Usagi Yojimbo is stuck in the TMNT cartoon universe. He has been there for a few years. Donatello has finally figured out exactly how to send him right back to his time period, and he invites the TMNT Turtles to go along with him, and they actually take him up on it. And when they arrive, it turns out Usagi's little village has actually been taken over by evil guys, and wouldn't you know it, he just has the right backup to take them on. A really fun time, really great comic book, especially, as always, if you love the TMNT cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely. This is everything fun that a comic book should be. Everything that Ultimate X-Men doesn't have, it's right here in Saturday Morning Adventures with TMNT and Usagi Yojimbo. I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm loving the dialogue. I'm loving the action. I'm loving the art. The art is terrific. And this is a terrific comic book that any father can sit down with their kids, with their son, and they're going to have fun. And they're going to want to eventually, hopefully, seek out those Usagi Yojimbo comic books and more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics when they get older. This is a great entrance book for young kids, and I cannot recommend this enough. This is a terrific family book for everyone.
Absolutely. If you miss TMNT, you miss good TMNT, definitely check this one out. It's great, wholesome fun. Next up, something not quite as wholesome, Ain't No Grave #2, Scotty Young writing, Jorge Corona on art, the team behind Middle West from a few years ago. I didn't love the very first issue, but I found the last page, the final page reveal, intriguing enough to check out the second issue. And business picks up in this one. There's a lot more action. The Jorge Corona art really fits the story at this point. A lot of fun stuff going on here. We've got this. She's not so much a damsel in distress. She's actually a female villain, kind of outlaw that has settled down. She's got her family. She's about to die, and she's going to go down and hunt down death in the city of Cyprus. And we get some really weird stuff in this one. And it's just a whole lot of fun if you're looking for a great action-based comic book with a little bit of a Western flair to it.
Yeah, I would say it's a little more than a Western. There's like a good amount of Western flavor in this book. And I was kind of surprised by how much of that there was in this. And I love it. I love Westerns. So yeah, I'll completely go with it. And yeah, the art in this by Jorge Corona, like you said, Wes, 2 issues this week. He just nailed it. Both issues. And I couldn't be happier about that. And I love the action scenes. I love the graphicness of the art in this book, the quick pace in this. Daniel Warren Johnson is a terrific storyteller, and I people who know me, they know I'm not a fan of his art, but I do love his storytelling. He is a terrific writer.
You mean Scotty Young?
I'm sorry, Scott. Yeah, Scotty Young. Scotty Young has only gotten better as a storyteller. His art I'm not a big fan of, but yeah, his writing has only gotten better. This is a terrific issue. And it's much better than issue 1, and I cannot wait to see where issue 3 goes, because where this one ends, I was very surprised. And yeah, I'll be back for issue 3. Do check this one out, guys. It's a very fun read.
Might be a little bit of a sleeper hit. Like I said, the first issue wasn't great, but it really picks up the pace in issue #2 if you skipped out on it this week. Final indie recommendation, Geiger #3, Jeff Johns writing, Gary Frank on art. This is more of a cool down issue, not quite as exciting as the second one. More character development and exploration regarding the glowing man, Tariq himself, as he's got a book. It's been destroyed. He has to go get it again. The Atomic Knight doesn't like books, and it turns out that books are the only connection that the glowing man has back to his family. Really good stuff, kind of fleshing out the character, but we also get the first real run-in. I don't remember what they were called, like the organ donors or something like this. These are some people out there that have been mutated, and they go out there and steal healthy organs and replace it with their bad organs. And they seem pretty bad. And I thought the dog was going to die. That was the part that freaked me out.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, honestly, the dog is the one character I'm really caring for the most in this run. And where this issue ends, it's got me very emotionally invested in the next issue, because they better not hurt that dog, because we've seen him as a puppy and we've seen him as an adult dog now. And yeah, he's been with us since the very beginning. But yeah, we do see the commonality, the connection of books, you know, how like the books are the one thing that's kind of the emotional connectivity between the two, and like how it's a memory of, you know, simpler times, a memory of times before they went bad, just a memory of good things, you know. And yeah, the Atomic Knight, what he does at the end of this, you know, it was a good emotional moment when you see what he does for Tariq toward the end. Like, oh my, that was a good moment. I love it. Despite Tariq treating him like a pile of crap, which I can't believe that he's still hanging out with him despite that. But yeah, he does something special for him at the end of this, and I dug it. And the series is getting better. It's slowly getting better. It's not the best of the Ghost Machine books, but it's getting better. And yeah, do check this out if you haven't checked out Geiger yet.
I'm surprised early on. I'm kind of more invested in Redcoat and certainly way more invested in Rook Exodus. But I do think all the stuff Ghost Machine are doing right now are really, really good. And not surprisingly, the indie books really carried the week. They've been doing that for months now. We've got one more recommendation from Marvel and one from DC. First up, Marvel Avengers 15, Jed MacKay writing, CF on art. This is a Blood Hunt tie-in. I wasn't specifically looking to read this particular comic book. I planned on skipping it, but there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff out there this week, so I decided to check out Avengers, and I'm glad I did. It actually ended up being pretty fun. This might be the best issue of Blood Hunt that we got so far. It's actually a pretty good time. You've got Captain America, Steve Rogers, has put together basically a set of jabroni Avengers. I think you've got the Hercules, you got Quicksilver, Kate Bishop, and then another
Wasp. I think there's a Wasp.
No, it's not Wasp. It's a younger teen girl. I can't remember her name. I think it's Haywire. And they're fighting Baron Blood and a legion of Nazi vampires, which makes sense. It's Baron Blood. He's got a whole team together. They got a helicarrier. And it's just stupid action and lots of fun. And there's even a speech by Kate Bishop, which blows the speech from Falcon Cap away that happened in Blood Hunt this week. While I don't particularly like Blood Hunt, I don't think it has a real reason to exist. These are like the 1 and 2 issues out there that sometime are fun.
Yeah, you know, yeah, like I said, it wasn't the best. It's not the worst, but yeah, we'll take it. And I haven't been reading most of, if any of the Blood Hunt tie-ins at all, because I just see it as a lazy event story. And but this issue was fun. The art wasn't the best. Art could have been better.
Baron Blood looked like Wolverine.
Yes, he did. And I was really hoping for some more, some kick-ass action scenes between Baron Blood and Captain America. I really wanted to see more of that because those two go back a long way. And we didn't really get that much of a payoff with that, which was kind of disappointing. But hopefully in the next issue, maybe we'll see it. But yeah, where this one ends, it's an interesting cliffhanger because I think this is much more interesting where this ends than the main story. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what Jed MacKay does with it. But yeah, if you've been kind of, I guess, more disappointed with Marvel books, this is one of the better ones, and you could do a hell of a lot worse. Do check out Avengers.
Yeah, Blood Hunt was just unwieldy this week. There were 9 Blood Hunt issues, Fantastic Four tied in, Miles tied in. You got this crap, a Jubilee book for reasons nobody knows. And this was definitely the standout book, even above Blood Hunt #3, also written by Jed MacKay. Having a little bit of fun, and it was much more enjoyable than the rest. Final recommendation from DC Comics, Green Lantern #12, Jeremy Evans writing, Zermanico on art. And we're getting the big, I guess, climax of all this stuff with the United Planets being taken over by Theros and a bunch of, I guess, shapeshifters that are a part of his race that are basically destroying all the central power batteries so they can take ownership of the entire emotional spectrum. I will fully admit Hal Jordan looked a little bit too stupid in this story. Well, far too stupid, if I'm being completely honest. But we get a great moment with Kyle Rayner. And we do see Hal Jordan in peril. And finally, a Star Sapphire enters the mix for a little bit of a save on this one. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. And I did like how the story progressed. And I did love seeing the entrance of Carol Farrell. Oh, spoiler alert. I did like to see the entrance of the new Star Sapphire. And it was a great entrance, you know, and it really just shows the power of the Star Sapphire core. And I'll honestly say, I think my favorite moment in this was later on in the book between Hal and Carol. In the trailer, I thought that was probably some of the best stuff. That's some great emotional moments right there. And I wasn't a big fan of seeing Amanda Waller toward the end. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's when the book got less fun.
Yes, I'm like, oh, jeez. All right, here we go. But read everything before Amanda Waller shows up. Before that, you're going to have a lot of fun with this book. Yeah, there's some great action. There's some great emotional moments. There's some great romance in this. Great art. This is a terrific DC book, terrific Green Lantern book. Like we said, Jeremy Adams, he's one of the best, and he needs to be getting more work.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that by the end of this book, this big Theros villain that he's been building up as the person behind all this ends up like groveling at the feet of Amanda Waller, really undercut a lot of the storytelling that Jeremy Adams is doing, but he has to tie this in and get ready for Absolute Power, which it sounds like nobody's reading, but the issue is good in spite of having to tie in and lead towards Absolute Power. I do want to say thank you very much to Drew for joining us today. I know you're just back from assignment. Did you get to see everybody and give out some hugs?
I gave out a lot of hugs, Max and Josh and Kyle, they'll tell you that I gave out a lot of hugs, a lot of signatures to fans. Like, I'd be walking random booths, people, I'd be stopped to give signatures. It was a great time. And if you get a chance, do meet Stephen Platt. Stephen Platt is one of the greats. He's back in the comic book scene, in the convention scene. And he has some great stories from the 90s.
If you like the comic book rundown that we're doing here, we actually do a much bigger one, not here on YouTube, but actually on Thinking Critical Patreon with Jim from Weird Science. We talk about all the good stuff, the bad stuff, and everything in between from Marvel, DC, and the entertainment comic books every single Thursday on Patreon. If you haven't checked that out, there's a link to the Patreon in the video description. And right now there is a free trial. You want to check it out and see if that is for you.